hello lovies, and welcome back to my channel. Just me being mochamoet. So today I'm doing something delightfully different, but also extremely important and awesomely satisfying to my soul. Today I'm going out on a stroll here in Nantucket, which I've mentioned before is a gorgeous island in the Atlantic Ocean located in Massachusetts. My stroll today will be through some very important places and times that occurred way back in the 1800s. So if you're as interested as I was, come on and join me and let's get this stroll on. So today I'm going to be stopping by 3 locations that are super important to me and very interesting. Today, the first stop, however, is going to be the historic Colored Cemetery. Yes, I said colored. So stick with me, guys, and I want to show you their acre. So, it is a cemetery, so it's a sad place to be, but I just had to get over here because it's historic. I always wanted to know, like, before I go to a place, I always want to check, like, the history of the slaves, history of slavery in that town. I know when I did it in Tulsa, I learned a lot. And I was down, like, in the area of the riots and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm so glad that I had gotten to see that and gotten to know that. So when I decided to come to Nantucket some years ago, the first thing that I had went and took a look at was the history of slaves there. So there is like an African American meeting place here that I'll show you that later. And then, of course, the cemetery. So I guess these folks here, they actually finally got their acre for their final resting place. May they rest in peace. Deep in my pocket like the ocean. Bring out the money from the ATM. Tell your mom from your ATM. In no back, you go shopping with your ATM. Go lunch with your ATM. The way bags and clothes from your ATM. Wanna glow every time you come in. Be the one with the bag when you are with your friends. Oh, no. Girl, up for my key. All you really want is my key. You want me to wipe it. I don't really show nothing but love. For my key, all you really want is my key. You want me to wipe it. I don't really show nothing but love. All right, guys, we're going to continue on our stroll. And this next spot is our African American Meetinghouse. Now, this little cutesy building was built around 1825, I think, by the Baptist Society. I remember first coming here to the island and I couldn't get inside because it was always closed. And then I came back and had found out that in 2018 that the building had actually been vandalized. But not to fret, the community came together and repaired the damage and restored it to its original beauty. Now, this place is very important to the Black people of Nantucket because this is where freed slaves sought shelter. But because of the Fugitive Slave Act in 1793, slave hunters could still legally travel over to free states and capture slaves that had run away. But this was their safe haven right here on Nantucket. It was also used as a schoolhouse for the students of color because they weren't allowed to attend public schools. I don't know if you remember that, but Nantucket schools weren't desegregated until about 1846 or somewhere around there. Well, all right, guys, let's continue on our stroll to our number 3 location. Now, this is definitely last but not least. This is truly a treasure that I had been hearing of throughout the years that I had been coming over here, but I could never find it. So I am so grateful that I finally found it. This is a beautiful home that belonged to Miss Florence Higginbottom. Now, she came to Nantucket in the early 1900s, about 1911, I think, as a domestic worker for a family that owned a summer home over in Wisconsin. Well, she collected up enough coin and she purchased her home, which happened to be right next door to the African American Meeting House. So that has great significance. So with Miss Florence's home and the African American Meeting House, they were both located in a neighborhood that was named New Guinea. Now, this was named after a country in West Africa where Africans had been taken in as slaves. Today, it is no longer known as New Guinea. It is called now Five Corners. Well, guys, how fitting is this? I am ending my stroll with a beautiful home. I have shared with you 3 spots that have always intrigued me when I'm here on Nantucket. I want to thank you for joining me and letting me share this amazing time with you. You guys stay sweet and have an awesome day.